Hello everyone and welcome back to our Shaolin Talks. My name is Martine Niven.
I'm Janine Brouwer.
And we've got an amazing topic for you to discuss today. We are going to be chatting and exploring all about outdoor travel. Because as you know, this time of the year, everybody really wants to go on holiday. But unfortunately, due to the COVID-19, it's very difficult for people to get out and about. Some people are a little bit afraid to travel. And maybe you can't go abroad like you would normally be able to. And so we thought that it would be a really good idea to explore travel in the UK. So how you can get out and about, what you can do, give you some really great tips on really simple things like how to pack your luggage, what to take with you,
where to go,
simple
how
things.
long to go,
how long to go for, and so we're going to explore these different areas with you guys out there. And if you've got any tips that you would like to share with us as well, you're an experienced traveller, then you can put it on send some comments to us.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're just going to explore what is outdoor travel. So we did quite a lot of research and came up with some ideas.
So I think what first springs into mind is, I think a lot of things spring into mind. It's like, usually it's camping, isn't it?
Yeah.
Camping, caravanning, or but I think it also expands a bit more, because you can also just do day trips. You don't always necessarily have to have a tent, right? So you can just go outside for a day, or it also depends what you want to explore. If you're a beach person, or like mountain, if you like mountains or the woods. So it's different areas. I mean, there's lots of places where you can go, which are outside, right? So,
there's loads of places.
And then the other thing is what are your hobbies? Do you like hiking, climbing, walking, or are you drawn to the water? Like canoeing, or using a boat, surfing, swimming. And then obviously I think we kind of limit this to summer activities, because
if you're in the UK, you kind of really don't. Well, you can go exploring the outdoors in the UK, but you just need to be really prepared, because obviously you never know what weather you're going to get. And even in the summer, you have to be prepared, because it might have a lovely downpour of rain. So if you are going camping or you're outdoor traveling, just make sure you've got the right supplies with you. We're going to talk a bit about that later anyway. But like Janine was saying, you can go camping. If you've never been camping, you can go. Have you heard of glamping?
Yes. Yeah.
Glamping is quite good.
I think glamping that's quite good, actually. I mean, I've been. It was like usually the glamping ones is also usually linked to festivals, right?
Oh, right.
I mean, obviously this year we're a bit unlucky and there's no festivals about.
Yeah, I know.
But usually you find like the glamping providers on festival grounds.
So what would you do if you, say for example, you didn't have your own tent, or you didn't have any experience camping? Like, I've only ever been camping once, but I really, really loved it actually. But say you've never had any experience of camping and you want to hire something out. You don't want to maybe go out and buy all the camping materials and cooking and ground mats and sleeping bags, and you wanted to just experience what that was like. Is there anywhere?
I think there are ways. So for example, last year we went to Yosemite and we did this group backpacking tour.
Oh wow.
So there are obviously, again, it depends on your budget, but sometimes if you're in a group, or if you look for services where they provide this already. So I mean, there are services out there that provide group travel, and they already have all the equipment.
Oh, that's really good.
If you need a guide or something, that's out there too. So I think if you're unsure about this, and before buying all the equipment, and you just want to try it out, I probably would either find a group. A group, or maybe a group of friends, or if you know people that travel a lot, that you can basically either invite yourself or see if you can travel with them, so that you can kind of get used to equipment. And then usually also, because you travel with experienced outdoor people, they can give you some tips And then to make it a bit more worthwhile than if you buy all the equipment, don't know how to use it, and then you have like a really bad experience, then you never ever go camping again.
But also, if you're not into camping, you could also, there are lots of places where you can hire chalets, or you can hire yurts, or you can hire a caravan or a mobile home or something like that. You can go out there and do that, and maybe take your family out. I mean, there's so many benefits to getting outdoors, isn't there? There's so many benefits to being out in the fresh country air and kind of escaping. It's really good to kind of clear your mind. We're going to cover a little bit of that anyway, some benefits.
It's even also if you camping just with your tent and your backpack, right? It's like you obviously need to carry everything with you.
Yeah.
So you're a bit more flexible probably if you do a caravan trip, because you can chuck everything in your caravan, and you're not so limited on your equipment that you have to carry around.
Yeah.
Same with if you do the glamping option, you have a bit more luxury, and you probably can leave stuff and don't have to carry things, kind of do the rough bit.
And I think in England you can't just pitch up anywhere. So I didn't know this, but apparently you can't just put your tent, you can't just go to the New Forest and put your tent up. Whereas in somewhere like Scotland, you can do that. You can do something like called wild camping, where you can just find a location and just put your tent, make a fire. You're allowed to do that. So if you're traveling in somewhere like England or Wales, then you need to make sure that you book into a campsite, and that means that you need to do quite a little bit of forward planning. But I think even if you do wild camping,
you want to do
some planning as well. You don't want to be stuck in the middle of the wilderness somewhere with no equipment, no food, and not prepared. So
maybe Martinez, like your camping experience. How did you prepare, or how would you prepare?
So my first time camping, I just did a lot of research online. So I researched I researched what I was going to camp in, so my tent and my sleeping bag. I made sure I checked what the weather was going to be like, so if it was going to be sunny, rainy, and be prepared for different changes in weather. So obviously, because it's in England, then you want to make sure you've got a lot of waterproofs.
Yeah, that's definitely waterproof.
And also just make sure that they work, because you can, and I would try the stuff on sometimes in the shop and make sure that they actually worked and that they were comfortable and they weren't too hot or restricting. Because if you're walking around quite a lot of the time, then you don't want to be uncomfortable, you don't want to feel, and you also want something that's easy to take on and off. If it's really hot one minute and it's raining the next, you want to be able to put it into your bag. It's not too heavy to carry around. And when we go out taking pictures, I take my hobby with me. So I think yes, there's lots of different ways you can prepare, and obviously food is really important. Making sure you've got the right amount of food.
I think you might need to
rations,
like your basic things needs to be covered, right? So you need to know: do I get food? Do I have to?
Can I get water?
Do I have to provide my own food? Where do I do it? So, or do I have to bring it with me, or do I have to buy it, or do I get it somewhere? I
think this is like if you're doing like wild camping, it's kind of different. It's more like survival out in the wild. Then you really have to be prepared, and you have to have all your supplies and your cooker and your knife, and make sure you can build a fire and the basic survival skills. Whereas if you're in a campsite and you've got like Co-op Tesco around the corner, then you're going to be okay. You're not going to, starve or anything. But if you're doing a little bit more extreme, or say if you're, I think last year we climbed Ben Nevis, but even that's not too tricky. But you just need to make sure that you're quite prepared and that you know your route and you're not going to get lost. You got a map and kind of the basic fundamentals.
Have good footwork if you're climbing, isn't it? Because that's, and also keep warm, I think, because sometimes it's like you get hot and cold and hot and cold. So it's like,
I read when I was researching, because I really want to go do some outdoor traveling this year around Scotland, and I was doing some some research, and someone sent me a link on, you know, what are the most important tips to consider when you go traveling. And I thought one of them, which was really good, was, like you said, your footwear. And when you buy your walking shoes, you know, you buy all this brand new equipment, and then you wear it on the day.
No, you have to wear it before.
Yeah, you wear it on the day that you start traveling, and then what happens is you get these massive blisters all over your feet because you haven't worn your shoes. It's kind of like simple things, but you don't actually think about it because I was so excited to go. You kind of don't think about these really small things.
Yeah, try things out before you actually try your stuff out before you take it. Yeah.
And Toby said, when I said to Toby, oh, you know, what did you do? Because Toby did a lot of traveling, and he said, oh, what was the most important thing for me was a plaster. I was like, what, really? So he said, you must pack yourself some plasters, because when you're walking, if you're doing like a long walking, you know, hiking or whatever, you do get blisters on your feet, and if there's no convenience stores around, then, you know. But I suppose you
have like a bit of a like essentials first aid kit, right?
Yeah.
With your buck.
With the what? Sorry?
Like your bug spray.
Oh, yes. And a bug spray. If you're going to Scotland, so I didn't know this.
Nature in general.
Or nature in general, you need to buy some bug spray. Seriously, in Scotland. It's the worst midges I've ever experienced. Even worse than, you know, like China or other places that I've been where there's a lot of mosquitoes.
Yeah, it depends where you are. It's like if you go to Scandinavia, they have bugs as well.
Oh my gosh. Like, so, and also I suppose you need to have some basic knowledge of insects. So like, for example, they come out at dusk. Don't sit by a river, you know, or swimming in the river at dusk, which is what I did. I went swimming in the river at dusk. And I got eaten alive with no mosquito repellent. And there's there's like natural things that you can have for if you don't like a lot of chemicals. You know, if you go out traveling outdoors, like in the jungles or something, and you don't want to wear DEET. Normally, DEET is what you'd protect yourself against mosquitoes. It's quite very strong chemical. Yeah. But there are like other things that you can use, like natural methods, like citronella is really good. When I go to China, citronella is fantastic. For some reason, they really hate it. Or if you have a lot of garlic, if you eat a lot of garlic in your food, they don't tend to touch you either. But so I have a really good one that I spray that's more natural.
So how about, so you say you want to know about, like, obviously what's around, what insects are around. What about like other animals? Would you need to know what other animals are around?
I don't know. What do you mean in terms of like danger?
Yeah.
Or like dangerous animals?
Like maybe snakes?
Maybe snakes, yeah. And I suppose if you're traveling abroad, then you do need to know.
Or like bears. Abroad sometimes,
Yeah. I went to Slovenia and they have a lot of bears. So because I do like some wildlife photography, I wanted to go and track the bears. But you need a guide, you know, like for this type of stuff, wild bears running around. You know, you really need a professional guide. You don't want to be attacked by a bear. It's not.
No.
It's not fun. So, you need to be clever. Yeah, you need to be a little bit wise and just understand what's going on around you.
Same as, I mean, I think for you, Martine, it's probably easy. What can and can't you eat in terms of like berries? Mushrooms.
Well, you mean like foraging?
Yeah.
This is quite an interesting one. This is one that I'm exploring at the moment. I'm kind of getting into doing foraging and exploring. There's a great podcast online by a gentleman called Robin Harwood, and Hartford, and he talks about foraging, and hopefully he might come and chat to us as well if we can get him here. That'd be amazing. But and he explains to you what is the right food to eat at the right season. And one thing that he says is, if you are going to go foraging, you need to know 100% sure that what you're eating, you know what it is. Because there's so many different plants that all look the same, and you could land yourself in some real trouble if you pick something, eat it, and you don't know what it is. You know, and you're out in the middle of nowhere. So you need to know.
So you really, really want to prepare.
You need to prepare. You need to and before you put it in your mouth, you need to know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I think there's some.
So basically, if in doubt, don't put it in your mouth.
Don't put it in your mouth. Yeah. And there's some really other great like things that you can get hold of, which you can buy online through Amazon and things, like a water bottle that filters water.
Yeah, Gary has one of those.
Is that good?
Yeah. It has like a straw in there. It's very good because it's like you can
fill up from a stream or something.
You fill up from a stream from any water source, and you can drink it straight away.
Does it really work? Because I always feel a little bit worried.
No,
like
it does. I tried it. It does.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! You need to put some links up for that.
It's a really good thing to have.
Yeah.
So, on your next trip, you want something like this.
Yeah.
Put it on your birthday list.
Because you kind of you think they say to you that if you boil the water, then it becomes clean enough for you to drink.
No.
Is that right? Or
I'm not so sure about this. But I think it's like when you do wild outdoor travel, it's also sometimes when you do it in a group, they have like these filter bag systems, but they work exactly in the same way as these bottles. They have some kind of filter which filters so you can actually you take the water from a stream or whatever, you put it through this filter system, and but it has the same kind of mechanism as these bottles.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah.
So I suppose as long as you can eat, I suppose if you're doing long walk, I mean, we're talking about long walks. So if you do day trips and stuff, I suppose it's a bit different. But
I think day trips, but you make sure you have enough water with you.
Yeah, you don't want to dehydrate.
Keep dehydrated. And maybe have some snacks with you as well. So or some
like dried food, nuts.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to do like long walking as well, you can get things like dehydrated food, which you can kind of just add water to, and they can keep you going for a long period of time.
Because I think sometimes people forget that walking is exercise as well. So if you haven't done a lot in a long time, you will start to sweat. Your feet will start to hurt. It's like you need to take a big care of your body.
Yeah, so. And I suppose you need to be prepared as well. Like you need to make sure you've got the right clothes with you. You obviously, if you're doing wild camping, you don't want to take too many different types of clothes. So those clothes you can get that are quick drying, they're really good. Because you can just kind of wash them really quickly and then sort of put them out to dry, and then they dry the next day. Things like that are really good. Anything that's really lightweight, you want to take with you.
It's really helps. So it's kind of because when you have the right clothes, so you don't worry too much about the weather. Because the weather changes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like a few years ago, we also went to Scotland and we climbed Ben Lomond, and it was also so basically Gary made sure I had like all the equipment, right? So
he would.
So I had the right shoes, I had waterproofs, I had gloves and a hat. Because when we started, it was like sunny, it was really nice, and you was like just walking in your t-shirt. But the higher you came up, the colder it got. Then it started to rain. Then it was really cold. And by the time you were up the top, it was foggy. And it's like if you don't have the right clothes, you just start becoming miserable, right? And then it ruins your trip. But actually, you change around your clothes, and then at the end of the day, you come down, and it was perfect. I wasn't wet, I wasn't miserable. It was good.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
So if you have then weather doesn't become a problem. Just take the right things.
Take the right things. I think in the UK there's so many different places that you can go to. So you have to kind of think about like what it is that you really like to see, or do you have certain hobbies that you can take with you? So for example, if you like to draw, or you think to yourself, I really like to practice my drawing, you can take your hobby with you. So if you're going to the beach, or if you go mountain climbing, or you can bring that to the space that you're in. Or for example, when you're traveling, you don't have a lot of devices around you. Obviously you might need your mobile in case you get lost or anything, but you don't have your computers or devices or things, so you're able to kind of engage in nature in a really positive way. And I think that experience will really help your mindfulness and help you to reconnect with yourself. and just sometimes when you're really having a hectic life, you know, fast-paced, things aren't too great happening around you, getting out in nature is a really great way to de-stress, and help to kind of boost your creativity as well, because sometimes when you're living the same life over, you know, in your life you're continually doing stuff over and over again, it's very difficult to get a different perspective. But just getting outside in nature, it kind of re-energizes you.
Quite all of what you said, and then it's again because it talks to all of your senses, right? So all of your senses get involved in being out there, right? So it's like you touch and feel, you smell different smells, you hear different sounds, you see different colors, different things, you know. So it kind of is like an overall sensory experience. Yeah, I quite like that. It's really good. That's what I like to go out and about as well. And it kind of clears your mind. And you don't really need to bring like music or anything. Just kind of be with yourself. I think sometimes people are a bit afraid of being on their own or with themselves. But it really helps refocus you as well.
You can do some really great mindfulness practice. So say for example, if you wanted to just do a day trip out or get out into the forest or down by the beach or somewhere quiet, you can do some mindfulness practices which are really great for you. You can just, for example, use one of your senses and just really focus in on that. So for example, as you're walking along, you pay attention to the things that you see, you pay attention to the colours that you see around you, you know, almost like how an artist would see colour. And then after a while you let that sense fade and then you just listen. So as you're walking through, you know, or by a stream or somewhere quiet, and you engage in your hearing, so what you can hear, and you bring your attention to the sounds. And then you let that sense pass, and then you move to your sense of smell, what you can smell, you know. And I think sometimes this helps you to really focus your mind. It helps you to get a different perspective, and it creates kind of like a mindfulness practice that
I think also if you're out with children also, you can make them like gather things, you know.
Yeah, you can make it exciting.
Find things like treasures. It's like either like some fruit or some I don't know, like acorns or certain leaves, or it's like even if you go to the beach, you find like shells and things, you know. So you can build like a little treasure bank. And also I think sometimes when people is you bring something of nature back, so you can bring something back, can't you? So
yeah, it's nice
to remind you.
And like for example, like hobbies as well, possible hobbies that you could do, you know, if you go to the beach, you know, there's so many different sports that if you're quite a sporty person, then you can like do bodyboarding and paddle boarding, canoeing, you know, you can take day trips out, or you can just do like simple things where you don't require you to have any equipment, like walking or hiking or climbing. But obviously if you are going to do things like climbing, then you need to make sure that you have a proper instructor, you know. Don't go climbing up cliffs and stuff, that's not great, you know. You need to make sure you have proper equipment and you know exactly what you're doing. So maybe we explore a bit of what would you say was your biggest challenge for outdoor traveling? Outdoor traveling. So I always come back to when I did my first camping experience, and it was like trying to build a fire when it was raining. And lighting damp wood. I think that was a real achievement. So
did you manage in the end?
Yeah, we did. It was amazing. Yeah, we did.
Oh, that's really good.
I'd never experienced anything like that, sort of being in the middle of nowhere and having to light a fire, and it's really damp everywhere. Like, where are you going to find sort of light, you know, things to light fire, like wood and things was completely damp, but we managed to do. We sat there sort of blowing for like nearly half an hour on this fire, trying to get it started.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
good.
But there's loads of things like that. There's loads of, and it's really, what's really lovely about being out in nature is it's changing in every moment.
Yeah.
So, you know, it could be really quiet, then all of a sudden some animal just appears out from the middle of nowhere. And you're like, wow, it's a wild animal, you know, it's really cool. And yeah, the landscape's always changing all the time. You're always experiencing new things. So, yeah. What about yourself? What was your
biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge?
Not really. I think it's like if you, I think last year when we went up this mountain and it was like really, really steep. And you were like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. But then in the end you do it, you know, you just do it. And but yeah.
Mountain climbing can be quite challenging, can't it? It can be quite tough. And so after about 6 hours of climbing up Ben Nevis, you're like, oh my gosh, we're going to get there. It's like, but I think once you arrive at the top, it's a wonderful sensation.
Yeah, it's always worth it, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's always worth it if you go somewhere or you have like a really nice, I don't know, view. Or because usually if you climb a mountain, it's hard work to come up, and then not everyone gets up, right? And then you're the one that can say like, yeah, I've been up there and I've seen the world, and it makes you a bit humble as well. It's quite. Yeah. Or I don't know. It's the same with like on water, isn't it? If you experience nature's force as well. Sometimes if you're on water and like are struggling with wind and waves and
the elements.
Yeah, the elements.
You're struggling with the elements. Yeah, just being outside in nature is so good for your health. You know, if you're in a city or caught up in the city, there's quite a lot of pollution, air pollution. So when you're going out and you're in nature, you know, you're breathing in that fresh air into your lungs. It's going to make you feel really good about yourself. It's going to help to build your confidence, boost your confidence, and give you more creative outlook on life, different perspectives. And
have you ever basically made any changes to your life after a trip outdoors?
Well, yeah, always. Yeah, I think it's just for me. It's a way to reset. So I do it. I just do it from. You don't have to go miles and miles away to have an amazing experience out in nature. You can just go down to your local park. Yeah, you can find the local woods. There are green spaces out there, even if you're living in an urban jungle. Even like if you're living in London, you can find you can go to Hampstead Heath, or you can go to Richmond Park, any places where there is green or there's trees or nature and so you can get out anywhere and you can experience this. So what I'm saying is you don't have to spend loads of money. You don't have to invest in loads of camping equipment. You can just take a walk around the block, go to your park, find a tree, sit down
have a
picnic, and just relax. And the other day when we were doing our training on Southampton Common, just walked past a gentleman lying down on the floor on his blanket. He was laid out, relaxing, looking at the sky. Simple things like that you can do. You can try it. Maybe.
Yeah. What we sometimes do is like if you don't know where to go, right? So you can just kind of look on the map, what's near you, where's the green spots, right? Or like the bits without streets and things. Yeah. And then just go there, you know. So you find lots of good things around, and maybe places no one has been, or not many people have been.
And if you really want to engage with the fauna and fauna of the area and the wildlife, you have to stay still. So sort of rushing around like how you'd rush around in the city, that kind of doesn't work in nature. You kind of have to sit yourself down and you have to relax, you have to breathe, and you have to let the nature come to you. Yeah. So this might be quite a different experience to what you normally used to, but you should try it and see how you get on. And if you let us know your experiences. So I think it's really good if we come back to our top 10 tips. Yeah. So obviously this talk today is about the top 10 tips for traveling in the UK. So we're going to go through those tips with you now. Janine.
Okay. Yeah.
Tip one.
No.
I just pass over to you. Sorry.
So I mean, there's like 3 major things you have to cover. Yeah. So your 3 major things, and then we can give each one 3 tips, right?
Yeah.
So your first thing is plan. Yeah. So you need to plan and you need to be prepared.
Yeah. You don't want to be like me, rocking up to the edge of a stream at and getting covered in mosquito bites and ruining the rest of your time. So yeah. Plan your trip.
Plan ahead. So know where you're going. See what's around, what you want to see, how much time do you have, what is it that you need, do you need to pay for something, that don't you need to pay, where can you park, things like that. Yeah. So then I would say have the right suitable quality equipment with you, because that's really important to make your journey or your trip enjoyable. So this may be, depending obviously where you go, the right clothes, the right shelter, the right food, the right shoes, or any other equipment that you need to do what you want to do.
And make sure you test it before you go. So don't just get up to your campsite or wherever you go and then put your tent up there. Make sure you know exactly what you're doing, because if it's raining and you have to do it in the rain and you haven't prepared, then you're not going to be best pleased. So
exactly.
that comes under planning and preparing as well.
Yeah. And and then the last one we haven't really touched yet is communication and navigation. Pretty much also, so communication wise, if you really go out there somewhere in the world, let people know where you're going, for how long. So if you do get lost, you might want to get some help. So, and if you're suddenly out of your phone or no batteries or whatever, tell that people know where you are and can
and also
find you.
Another great tip is for communication, if you have like a mobile phone with you, if you're wild camping, you've got nowhere to charge it, so you can invest in a power pack. And if you don't have a power pack, then you can do solar power charging. So you can put, but apparently that only works if it's full sunlight, which is not very often in England. But apparently that does work really, really well. And also you can also charge your power pack off of your burner. So I heard there's some, you can do that as well. So, this is making people know where you are, keeping communication with people. And then navigation, your map.
Yeah, so basically have a map, and even if your map is just on the phone, maybe do have one in paper format.
Because sometimes you can't get connection.
Yes,
especially if you're up in the mountains somewhere, you're not going to get service, and then you're stuck. So compass. And again, know how to use these tools. So again, I've got a compass, but I don't know how to use it.
Exactly. Yes. So a bit of preparation, maybe also a bit of learning before. It's quite a good skill to have as well, isn't it? It's like you learn a new skill, and
it's like a survival skill.
And it doesn't take. I don't think it doesn't take long to learn it before you actually start your journey. But it will make it so much more worthwhile if you do know these things.
And some other things to add to our 10 is make sure you've got simple items that are essential. For example, suntan cream. If it gets very hot, you don't want to be burnt. Janine was mentioning when she went on holiday or traveling, she would have a hat. So she
I always take a hat. I even have a hat with me now. So hat, very good.
Toby mentioned to me when he was traveling that he would take 2 pairs of shoes with him. He said because if it rains and one pair of shoes gets wet, you need to have something else as a backup, because if you're walking around in wet shoes, it's really uncomfortable and you can get some kind of foot problem. So have a dry pair of shoes with you that you can change with your normal pair of shoes. or your walking boots if it's raining, and insect repellent, waterproof, things to pack your
Swiss Army knife.
Swiss Army knife. Yeah. A knife, sharp knife.
Some kind of tool that can do a bit of everything.
Yeah. So. And there's so many things out there on YouTube. There's so many great places that you can visit. So if you can get advice and you can get some information out there, just make sure that you're prepared. So there's different, if you want to go up to Scotland, you've got the Scotland area, the Highlands, mountain climbing. If you're moving down the country, you've got the Llangorms, you've got the Wales, and you've got the Lake District. You've got Hertfordshire, and you're moving sort of further down, more warmer. You can move down towards sort of the coastline.
They're really nice coastal walks. Jurassic Coast is very
beautiful.
Good to walk, and also to kind of explore fossils and. Little shells.
Yeah, it's good also to get off the beaten track. So if you're sticking, obviously you have to stick to paths and things like that to be safe. But try to go a little bit out of the the normal places where everyone will go to, where there's lots of tourists. You want to get into the countryside and find a quiet space for yourself. So
yeah, and I think also it's kind of make sure. That the travel suits your personality as well, because sometimes people just like to travel on their own. Sometimes people like to travel in a group. So see that you also kind of your needs are met. That you're also with either you travel with someone that shares your passions or you do it on your own. That's fine as well.
Yeah. Well, great. Okay, good. So I think we've covered quite a lot of what the benefits are for travel as well, about how it can boost your mood and your creativity and encourage mindfulness, that you don't have to book really expensive holidays to get out into nature, that you can just take a few moments of your day, even if you're on your lunch break, you can find a green space. I've been doing a lot of research into foraging, getting into foraging and herbs, and learning about that, and that's really great. And what they advise is, if you are looking for plant life, is to go to the edges of the forest, and you can search for animals and plant life in that area. And there's some amazing things that you can discover.
I think there's also really cool things about. I also like. Kind of castles, ruins, whatever,
Oh, right, okay.
And also, if you don't into the extreme wildlife things, there's a lot of stuff from National Trust, English Heritage. They have so much nice spaces, so many nice spaces that are basically kept tidy, kept preserved, and where you can learn a bit about history and so on. And they are usually also outdoors, and you can explore grounds, but make sure obviously you read if things are open and what you can see.
Yeah, especially nowadays.
Yeah, I love it. It's like England has a lot of heritage like this. Like if you're into castles and ruins and abbeys, you can find them anywhere.
You just walk down the road and you can find. Actually, you can find them in Southampton. I think when we have some special guests coming, you have to keep posted. We've got some special guests coming who are going to tell us all about Southampton and what kind of things that you can find here.
That's again basically this month we're concentrating on basically travel, lifestyle, and leisure, tourism. So you will hear a bit more about this throughout whole August.
Okay. Like I said, if you have any experiences that you would like to share with us, on your experiences of travelling or anywhere in the UK that you think is a great place to go to,
just let us know.
Just let us know, and send us some messages, and let us know how you got on. Okay, good.
So I think that's really sums it up for today. So it's quite good thing. I hope you go and start plan your trip now.
And get prepared.
Get prepared. Go out there, even if it's just for a day. So start with a day, build it up to more days, and really enjoy your holiday and your time outside.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week with our new exciting topics for you to follow. Okay, take care now.
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah.
I couldn't.